everyone, JSD Cool here, and welcome back to another Skinny Man Development live stream here. So, I have done, I think, nothing since the very last time that I was doing the development stream, which is great. Just freaking great. I'm so productive at doing this. The next couple weeks, though, I should have probably a bit of free time if I think of things to work and things. Before we get going, though, hello, I am here once again. Also, this is probably going to be the last live stream until mid January or late January, as it probably will be. So, you know, that's stuff. Who knows? Maybe I'll actually do a live stream over the holidays, but probably not. I would say maybe I'll do a live stream some point this next week, like on Tuesday or something. But I don't have anything to stream. It's kind of a problem. Anyhow, so before I actually get going this, I just want to talk a little bit about last stream / the product of. So, okay, if you didn't catch it, last stream I was trying to make an AI thing that would solve a GTA minigame for me. And I didn't really get much going in the stream. I kind of just ended up getting a bit more data. I ended up annotating that after the stream. But it turns out it just didn't work at all, because the AI or the machine learning model could not determine what the significance of the images were and what it was actually trying to find, and instead it just always just memorized the images basically, which is not what it wanted. It didn't even do it perfectly. It was kind of bad. So I've kind of given up on doing it that way for now. An additional problem, though, that happened, the reason why the stream was freezing when I tried to run it was because, I was trying to use full 1080p images. Because, why not? It's definitely able to handle that. Well, two 1080p images filled up the 16 gigs of VRAM on my GPU. That's without the stream running or anything like that. And I was trying to do 4 in stream, so that's no wonder. It's filling up half my system RAM and everything on my GPU. It was actually quite bad, and yeah, no wonder there was problems with that. So that was fun. Yeah. So anyway, enough of that. That didn't work. Nothing fruitful came from that. Maybe I could publish that stuff on GitHub. Oh well. But today, what I am going to do is work on Skinny Man, my game here. Now, in the last stream, we'll go over to my test level. Yoink this over here. Load the test level. Now, entities 2D. Oh yeah, obviously I never really saved anything. So, we're starting to implement the AI for this guy. I don't entirely remember how much we did, but this is the guy. Anyway, we were starting to implement its AI, which is wandering within a fixed range, basically. Now, since that stream, I actually talked to the AI guy in the computer science department at my school about stuff, and he gave me some ideas that I could incorporate into this and future entities. Mostly it centers around making them interact with the world and other things, making them feel more a part of the environment or whatever. Which I should do. And I have a plan to do that. It's probably what I'm going to do after I get this update out. I'm going to work on refining entity collision and giving them more ability to interact with stuff. But it did give me an idea for what I actually want to do. So I do think this wandering within a range thing is fine for this guy. It doesn't currently interact with the player, but that will be something that's happened. In terms of killing this guy, I think it's probably going to be similar to the goon, where you just gotta kind of gonna jump on them, but I'll be a little bit more lenient. So I'll say this guy's attack is specifically going to be on the front. So right here, its hands area, right in the front, that's where it's attacking you. So when it hits you with there, that's how its attack is gonna go. Otherwise, you're gonna bump into it and kill it. The other thing I think I'm going to have it do is I'm not just going to have it immediately turn around at the ends there. It's going to pause for a moment, then turn around. And if it sees you, so if it's going here, oh, I paused it too late, hang on. So it's there, it sees the player, let's say, and then pauses for a second here, and then moves towards the player and will try to, and then won't pause when it turns around to try to get to the player anymore until the player has gotten like a certain distance away from it, in which case it'll like lose interest. It might pause again. Whoops. Spawned another one of them. Anyhow. So, I guess we go start working on trying to implement that now. Which one of these is the alien? It's actually this one. Yeah, alien entity. Okay. Now, admittedly, a bunch of the like conversation that I was having with the AI guy was more about like the fundamentals of, or was going more into like the how AI agents stuff, like in like the agent context. I'm not entirely following that because I don't have to. It's not a school assignment. I can do whatever the heck I want. This is my game. I can do how I want. It is probably a good idea to probably more stick with the tried and true how AIs work type thing, which is make the AI agent interact with the environment. Now, it is kind of already set up like that in a way, and I think it was just bad at explaining this to him. Rendering has nothing to do with the actual AI itself. I also probably could do some animation, some like walking animations. We can maybe try to do that later. Maybe. Oh, this update here. This is the agent. This effectively, because I mean, I'm saying this as if you know all these. I've spent this semester in an artificial intelligence course with this guy, so it's just the reason why you can kind of talk about this stuff. And the final of that is actually tomorrow as well. So that's fun. But yeah, this is... Okay, we're going to need to define a context object here to go into this instead of this. That way I can just extensible this with a lot more information. Because currently it's just like, here's the collision for this stage, and also the amount of time since the last update happened. But I'm also going to want to give it other thing. I'm also going to be wanting to pass in other information, like here's where all the other either entities are or entity hitboxes, and here's the player hitboxes that you need to be concerned with. And the player hitboxes thing is definitely going to be weird, because if you're in single player, obviously it's just the one player. Fine. But if you're in multiplayer, things get a little bit weird. If you're in a speedrun level, we only want to pass in the currently playing player into the physics engine, or into this, because it doesn't need to worry about any of the other players. It's not really concerned with them, and we don't want to give it the option to be concerned, because that can make weird things happen in multiplayer. But then when we're in a co-op level, then we actually do care a lot more about stuff. They actually need to care about all the players, not just player one or whoever's on this system. And obviously that's running on the host end of things. But for now, I'll just need to abstract this a bit. But first... we're going to need more state information, because that's the other thing. So what's going to end up being passed in here is this is going to be the entity... or the state of the environment. I'm probably going to call it something like entity agent state or something like that. So this is the, this is what it's going to be able to, all this stuff is what it can perceive from the environment. And then the physics engine is effectively the environment, but, and then here's all the actual logic of the system itself, and the agent itself, and it decides on what actions it's going to actively try to take, which is the movement manager. The movement manager effectively is the set of actions that it's currently attempting to act out, I guess. And I don't entirely remember what this reset function does. It does something, though. Also, get the stream soda out. And then there's some other like metadata about the end of the year. But yeah, so this update function is effectively the agent itself. And this is like the internal, and these things are the internal state representation / internal memory of the agent and how it's like remembering what's in the world or whatever. So what do we need here? We need probably going to be in int, and this is going to be so pause equals 0. So we're not even gonna. So I'm gonna say if pause is greater than 0, pause minus equals ms pc return. So basically, it's going to do nothing while pause is greater than 0. Yeah, that's actually fine. If it goes less than, so if like a lag spike happens and it goes under 0, it'll stop decreasing it, because we're not just going to add time to pause when an event happens, we're just going to set the value directly, flat out. So it shouldn't matter if this ends up going negative, it should just start moving again. Effectively. If not facing right, and pause is less than or equal to 0. So we'll have to just give its movement conditions both of those. Everything else should just be immediately false. So we're good there. So don't move. So automatically you're not moving when you're paused. And then in the situations where it says, we're going to say equals 1000. So we'll have it pause for 1 second here. Second when changing direction. And then we'll copy that little comment down there. All right, so now let's just see how this has affected its behavior. See if this feels more interesting, because this certainly would make it way more different than the goon, who's just kind of always walking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Always. All right. All right. Place. Play. Okay, it does switch its direction first. Didn't pause at that end. Okay. So I didn't do something quite right. It needs to also pause at the end of the cliff here. And preferably it would change its direction after it's finished pausing, which I know is going to be a little bit harder, but I'll just have to implement all that. Yeah. So I basically just gotta, if we're collided, we also do this. And this one, if we didn't collide, we also do that. I'm thinking of a way that I could actually do this robustly. Alright, so now that the air conditioner shut off, it is basically freezing, or it's been below freezing all day. Alright, let's watch this. Okay, turns around, pauses. Yeah, it shouldn't. Yeah, I don't like the fact that it immediately switches direction. I'll go change that then. But yeah, this is pretty cool actually. So we click stop. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a couple more booleans up here. Now, most of this is not going to matter particularly much. Yeah. Most of this none of this actually needs to be communicated between clients in a multiplayer context. It's all just like runtime metadata. So we're going to create a Boolean new di. Okay, so after we pausing, then use the pause timer and do nothing else. Okay, there we go. Then we say if change direction, then facing right is equal to new direction. Where was I? Facing right equals new direction, and change direction is going to be equal to false. So in all these situations here, we're going to delay the actual change of direction with this little command right here. And then instead of setting facing right directly, we're going to say change direction, or not change direction, new direction. For down here, we'll just set new direction directly to true and false, which is the reason why I'm doing it this way. But for here, we'll set it to the opposite of whatever facing right is currently set to. All right, that should make it change its direction after it finishes its pause, if it needs to. Because once we get that player detection stuff. All right. We'll set this guy here. All right. Why did he move towards me? Okay, so starts moving towards me. But yep, look at that. Pause. What the fuck? Why did it just fall? Okay, I honestly did not expect that, and I have no idea why or how that happened. Okay, this guy's not doing it. Okay, I'll make the... Okay, I should... Because I'm kind of paranoid that will happen again, I'll bring the actual, like, range that it... Or I'll push the range, its forward detection range a little bit. Like, by 1. So that, hopefully, because it looked like it should have just barely been on there. Here, check collide with ground, check collide with wall, check stand on ground. Okay, we'll Okay, we'll just generally have it now check two units in front or behind the entity instead of the one that it was just doing there. That should hopefully work. Okay. That was quite funny though, how it just like turned around, then fell. Alright. Okay, it comes towards me, it stops there. It goes the other direction, stops there, turns around, comes back. Alright, cool. It's working now. Might have a worse time going up and down slopes, but that is less of my concern right now. Okay, so now this is a little bit more interesting. It'll stop, turn around, stop, turn around. Cool stuff. All right. Now that we did that, I need to update this. So, I will yoink this over here. Let me just commit these changes. So now pauses before it. Yeah, so the alien entity now pauses before it turns around. We'll make sure that's committed. All right, so now I need to deal with this, which should, so this should be turned into something called entity agent function, entity agent context. Something like that. Entity agent context, or entity update context would also work, I guess. I think I want to stick with the entity agent context. Okay, so entity agent context works for me, I think. Yeah, that'll work, and that could be more of like a general thing. Like, it doesn't have to be just for this. Because I don't know why I have this distinction, but I have there are entities that exist, and then there are stage entities. Because apparently there could be some other type of entity. Because players are not stage entities. Specifically, the difference is stage entities are able to be placed in a stage and have the logic attached to them for saving them, versus regular entities don't have that because the player doesn't need to be saved, basically. As far as I know, that's really the only difference, though. Alright, so now where's my mouse? There it is. Okay. Then we'll say public class la 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 la. CUNT contains context information. Contains contact information for let's see, agent P. That's kind of vague, but sure. Contains context information for AI entity agent programs. Let's make another line there. Basically anything entities AI might need for each. This is okay. You know, honestly, a record would be good for this, actually. Do I wanna? Because theoretically, this stuff doesn't probably should not change. A record would actually just be straight up more convenient, wouldn't it? Oh, but that would also mean that I can't optionally do. I mean, I could still pass null in for things, I guess. Let me just check, because we just have. I think we do have access to records here as well, because we're in Java 17. Records are like Java 15, I want to say. So yeah, I think we do have access to records here. These are like the two things that we need to be there then. Okay, let's try to do this with a record, because that'll just do everything we need it to do. It's, you know, a storage class. Where was it? E is way closer to the top than I'm thinking. Context. Record. A CCR? It is also very possible that processing has no fucking clue what a record is. Record. Here, let me paste that in. Well, in that situation, I will go on to my other monitor and try to see if I can find some place that actually has one of these that I can. In fact, I think I have something where I could find this. Let's go here. No, I think I got that right. Processing just has no clue what a record. Yep, processing. Okay, can't do that. Processing does not know what a record is. What a surprise! No Java 17 syntax, which means none of that. I mean, because here's the thing. This would, if the processing development environment wouldn't get in the way, it would compile just fine, because the processing development environment will do checks before it lets you compile. So that's why record doesn't exist. But if you got to the Java compiler, it wouldn't care, because that is valid syntax. Like, I could have a library. Like I could have a general Java library that has a record in it and be able to use it here just fine, because again, it's the compiled Java code. But nah. All right, so I guess we don't got that as an option. Oh well. So final float. Why is this a float now that I think about it? Because it's basically always going to be an integer. Why did I make this a float? Whatever. Maybe it's just because it makes math easier. Final array list of collider 2D, 2D COL, or stage COL collision 2D. Oh, we gotta import this. Import Java util array list. Shut up. We're gonna need another one of these, which is going to be stage collisions for the 3D, which can be null. Actually, that probably, the annotation probably doesn't go there. Go for in parameters or whatever. Okay, so we have time, 2D and 3D, 2D and 3D stage collision. We'll do final. Player array players. Yep, that works. Awkward as hell. Here, let me smush that way. So there we go. There's our players. That length could be whatever in size, but that will be computed by the that will be computed automatically. And then we have a final. What is it actually? How does the level or stage even? So stage. It does just contain an array. Okay, so we'll just make this a final array list of stage entities. I see that we're there. Keep in mind that this will contain the current entity. So like, anyhow, I think this is all the context we could realistically want at this point. For the entities AI, at least, this is all the context we could want. So, now we actually need to ingest this. So we say public entity agent context. And we'll have this say float MSPC. And then we go this, and we're just gonna, you know, put these all in here. Nice and simple. Nice and simple. We'll get the array of players. And then the entities that exist within the stage. And I'm not, again, not going to be using all these immediately. But, so this dot MSPC equals MSPC. This dot stage collisions 2D is equal to the same thing in there. So this dot players. And then this dot. Alright, so that's ingesting. Now we need to be able to actually access these things. Actually, but first I wanna create a context object for T on a stage. There we go. So the number of MILIC seconds is the last SI update. So the 2D colliders of the stage that entity is in. Stage colliders in it. The 3D colliders of the stage that T is in. If the stage is a 3D stage, if the stage is not a 3D stage, then this will be null. And relevant players to this entity. Yes, actually this will only contains players on the same stage as this entity. Only will have at most one player unless in multiplayer mode is co-op. Okay, one more. The entities on the same stage as this one. This does include this entity. Now, note, it may be wise to make collections immutable. Yeah, maybe wise to make these collections immutable in some way. That would probably involve a copy of their contents, especially for these entities. But I don't. But I mean, I won't personally. I would never screw it up in a way that would cause these entities to start modifying the content of the stage. But I can't guarantee that other people who might work on this in the future would do that. So maybe that'd be a good idea, but for now I'm not going to bother. Anyhow. That should be a sufficient description of what each of these parameters is supposed to be, at least. But now we actually have to be able to access them. So we will make a public float get SPC. We'll go put the doc strings in for this in a moment. Public array list. Public the collider 2D get 2D COL get 2D collisions. And then we, well, basically this is the same thing except for 3D again. There we go. Player way get players. Return players. And then public entity array list get entities. Hopefully that's spelled right. Entities. Yeah, that's probably spelled right. Anyhow, we just return entities. All right. Then docstring. Get the so yeah, this should be get the number of MILI seconds param return seconds the last tick. We'll shorten that a little bit there. Let's see, get the 2D COL collision boxes for the stage in the 2D stage okay, and then we just copy this but replace 2D with 3D for this, and also we'll have, I guess, have to see, it's in will return null if in a 2D stage. Get the 3D collision box for the stage entities in, if that is in, if the stage is 3D. There we go. All right, so that should be that. Get the event players to this entity. Turn an array of players in the same stage as entity. unless in co-op stage, this will almost always all right, good information there. And get the keys that are same caps lock. Return the entities in this entity IE's stage, including itself. Just do that. Hopefully that's good. Alright. So, now what we gotta do, we gotta go find stage entity and replace the parameters, all of the update function with this. So, that's another thing. Stage entities have update function. Regular entities don't. There it is. Which I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, it's called DT here. Which is probably also correct. Oh well. Relevant context. The AI of this entity can use to make decisions. There we go. That's a good description of what this thing will provide. Now I have to go and update my existing entities to now use this. So start with the goon, because that was not necessarily the first, but the most relevant. Now it really doesn't care. No, it does care a little bit actually. I was gonna say it doesn't care too much, but it does actually, because it uses the stage hitboxes. Context get to the COL collision. Fuck, what did I call it? Entity agent context. Collisions, plural. Ooh. Yeah, okay, and that's all this should need. Then my simple entity from my test world. This one does not actually care at all about the parameters. It just, actually, it doesn't even do anything with the update function now that I think. Yeah, the update function is literally empty in this one. Oh, context. Context. Alright, I didn't adjust the doc string of goon, did I? Yeah, no, I didn't. Text used to do AI things. It's not particularly relevant what it is. Anyhow, and now for you. I get MSPC. So we get the MSPC from there. Context get MSPC and then we'll use context get to the COL 2D. C-O-L-L-I-S-I-O-N. Ooh, that's not a D, that's an S. Yeah. So just replace it with this. Alright, so yeah, so that's that. And now we have access to there's one other area I gotta update this in. I was gonna say we have access to stuff, but we haven't actually given that access yet. We've just given the potential for that access to be given. Cause yeah. Is this not used in multiple locations? Wasn't there a thing here that... Okay, so I'm kind of confused because I thought there was like a thing where... And I also might just completely change... Oh no, I think I was doing that up here somewhere, maybe? So logic thread here. Ah! Yeah, here's where... So yeah, actually, why don't I remove this from the actual physics function, because it's not necessary here. And instead I can do it up here, where I'm just calling the right before I call these entity physics. Now, the reason why I could do this, and what could actually be very useful for this in the future, is that I could replace the replace this doing it in the for loop here. Because these stage entities are in an array or in an array list, I could use Java Stream API, specifically use like a parallel stream if I'm worried about performance and stuff, and just run them all and use that to efficiently probably run them all through, run all their update functions, and they could be in parallel because these update functions aren't actually supposed to affect the world outside of the entity, basically. But for now, I'm just going to remove this from down here and do this up here. So we're going to create a what happens for stage boxes 3D? Wait, hello. If this iteration loop refers to the current stage. Ah, yeah. Well, we'll figure out the 3D hitboxes thing later. Actually, I might just be able to make this thing return all of the stages in 3D. Whatever. So we'll make... What is it? So... agent context is equal to a new integer agent context. We pass in MSPC. Then we get the 2D, then 3D hitboxes, then new player array players 0. For now, I will figure that out in a moment. I just want to get this done. And then where are we looping through the entities? Staged entities. So then what we do is we'll say stage entities get I dot update and pass in this. That's for co-op. If it's not in a co-op stage... Oh, in co-op this... Well, I still actually have to come back to that players thing, because that actually does have to figure out, okay, what players are on the stage. For if level is not in co-op mode, and this is actually way easier. Well, okay. Oh wait, hang on. So we do this out here. Level, let's see, just stage box and stage box is 3D out here. So then stage does not exist. Right, yeah, this level stages get this. Nope. Oh wait, that needs to go in here. Get I update the agent context. All right. Now we actually got to do the player thing. So in the not co-op situation, this is actually fine. We just do current player is all we should need to do there. And here we got to do something a little bit more annoying because we got to figure out what players are on this stage. Okay, so here's what we'll do. Lost. Okay, so we do that. Go for int I players dot length. I forget how I check how many players are actually supposed to be in the game. I should do that. Oh well, I'll just go through all the players. Here, let me check the actual player class. So it's got all that stuff. Movement manager, hitboxes, collides with entities. Yeah, why does this function exist? It's not even in the entity class. Is this sort of information not? No, it does have stage. Oh, this is public. Alright, I guess we just get all that. Okay, just grab it raw apparently. That'll work. Oh, that's probably a reason why I did it like this. If players of I dot stage fuck. I'm using an enhanced for loop. I'm using an enhanced for loop to go through the stages. And the players just use the index. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I've been streaming for nearly an hour here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and when I come back, I will figure out what kind of inefficient thing I'm going to do. Where's my thing? There it is. It's white, so I have to remember to do. That didn't actually turn it on. What the heck? I blame you, Windows 11. This is probably not actually Windows 11's fault, but there we go. So I will be back in a moment. Alright, so the only thing I can think of... let's turn that off. The only thing I can think of is we gotta figure out which stage is the current stage before this loop. Another loop! So for... so int stage index equals 0. For stage index equals 0. Stage index less than level stage's size. So if level.stages.get stage index is memory location equivalent to stage, then break. There we go. That gives us a stage index. This technically doesn't need to be there. So then players on stage dot add players of I. Okay, that was a bit too much work. Figure out the index of this stage. It's probably something I could do in the array list to get the index. Oh well. This is what I did. Because I can't be bothered to look it up. Collect all the players on the current stage. Collect all the players on the current stage. The to array left in player array : new. There we go. Alright. This should now work exactly as it did before, which is the great part about it, because nothing should be broken. TM. Just a little bit of a refactor there. Alright, so first thing we do is we'll go over this way, move the player to here, press play. Okay, that guy's bouncing around just fine. We'll hop back over here, spawn in our little alien here. Again, working just fine as we haven't actually changed the AI, just how the AI gets called. This is a bit of a not a giant refactor, but still a refactor enough. Actually, wait, what am I doing? I'll just spawn one of these guys over here. AI is working as expected. Cool. Oh wait, where the heck did the alien go? Crap, it happened again, didn't it? Damn it! Hang on. Let me rewind my stream preview and see if I can see when this happened. Yep, okay, it happened again after... Okay, it happened after I ended up coming back into this... Honestly, I don't know how to fix that. That is kind of strange. Here, let's click the respawn button. There we go. Let's use the respawn button in the level creator to get this guy. Again, no idea how that happens. That just doesn't make sense to me because it was never falling off before I made it pause for a moment. And the physics engine shouldn't make it go any farther once it stops. There it goes again. Well, yeah, we got other AI things. I'm just trying to think, why might this be happening? Is it because pause gets set to 0 down here, but when pause goes 0 here, theoretically it should go to this, and that shouldn't change its hitbox. The hitbox should be fine. It shouldn't continue to walk in that direction for another frame. Surely. Surely not. You know what? Just to make sure, we'll move this to a third. Alright, let me commit the changes I've made so far then. Let's see, add entity agent context. Add let's go refactor the stage entity update to take a context object that has more useful things. All the spelling mistakes. It's not on my main monitor. Good thing I didn't make any of these on a visual and you're just hearing me. So I could be lying about how many. In fact, no, I didn't make any spelling mistakes. I did it 100% perfectly the first time. Anyway, so get okay. Now I want to get the chase. Yeah. Now I want to have it try chasing the player, or have it be in those kind of two modes: the chase player mode and the just kind of wandering mode. And again, these are kind of just going to be local properties. So go up here. We find Boolean chasing player false. And we're going to have an int here. Player index. Just gonna set that to 0 for now. That will get updated. So, yeah. Annoyingly, I am returning when it turns around currently. Yeah, so I should, I guess, do the check for player in quote view area. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to figure out which direction it's facing. We're going to check its distance to the player. And if the player is within whatever X, and even to a certain extent Y range, yeah, so here, we'll go. Actually, we need to do this in a loop. So for int I equals 0, I less than play or context dot get players dot png. I need to actually make get players a function. So, when I is in this range, first thing we need to do is check for this player. So, okay, so player P is equal to that of I. Simple. So float vert range equals P dot, and this one is just going to be math absolute value of P dot get Y minus get y. So we're just going to use the player's y position there. All right, so that's going to give us our absolute value there. And then if vert range greater than something like, let's say, 400. Let's go 700, let's say. Then we're going to continue. So basically, if vertically the difference in height between the player and the entity and this entity, and this is just their positions, which is arbitrary to be clear. For the player, it's the bottom center of the hitbox, and for this entity, it's more or less the middle. It's a little bit below the middle, but more or less the middle. So if the distance between those is less than 700 vertically, we'll consider them within the detection range of the entity. Now for the horizontal check. Range equals, and this one we're not going to absolute value. We're going to want to say the p.getX minus getX, not dash, equals. So this one we explicitly do not want to completely absolute value here. First thing we'll do is we'll actually check if it's within the facing direction. So this number should be positive if it's within the positive. I suppose this should be a little bit different. Okay, well, whatever. So if the player is to the right of the alien, then this is going to be positive. If it's to the left, it's going to be negative. Obviously, the direction it's facing is actually going to matter if other can detect it. So actually, the first thing we should do is if it's within its horizontal detection range. Let's do that first, which will require an absolute value. So if the math absolute value of hor range is greater than, let's say, what, it's 300 is the max wander. Actually, let's use max wander distance. It's like 1.7. Let's do that. Because the reason what I'm going to want for this is I'm going to want to see if, so you don't want it to necessarily be able to detect you from completely the other side of its wandering range, but within a good chunk of the wandering range, I want it to be able to detect you. Okay, so okay, check if this player is vertical tracking so check if this player is within vertical tracking range. Check if this player within horizontal tracking range. And then so if it is, we then check if the direction is right. So check if the player is the direction alien is looking. So this is going to be if facing right and the horizontal range is greater than 0. Wait. Not and. Equals. That is... This may seem a little bit fucked up here, but this is correct. So if facing right, we want the this value to be greater than 0 because that's the direction in which the player is. If they're facing left, we want it to then be less than 0, so negative. And so we want to check if they have the same value rather than checking if they're both true. And so that's what equals does in this situation. It seems stupid, but it works. Anyhow, so check if the player is in the direction of the answer. Okay, so we check if they're equal. If they are equal, then we can safely say that the player that we are chasing player index is going to be equal to I. Also, chasing player is going to be equal to true. Keep misplacing it. Okay. And then we're going to break. So that's pretty simple. But this is going to be if we're not already chasing the player. Oh, also, this is for first detecting the player. We're going to say pause for 1 second. Or let's say half a second. So, that's 5 seconds. Okay, pause for half a second when you first detect the player. This gives it that cool little, like, and thing. But, again, this should be if not currently chasing a player, we look for a player to chase. Oh, yes, actually. Playing view area to chase. Otherwise, we'll need to check, should we continue else? Check if we should continue ch. First thing we're going to do, if chasing player index is less than the length of these players, so basically, if a player leaves, if the player it was chasing leaves the stage, we don't want to crash. So we'll say chasing player false and pause for half a second there. Otherwise, we'll check the we'll do basically a lot of this. This time it's going to be that. All right. So this time though, if it's outside the vertical range, we don't continue. We say chasing player was false. So we stop chasing. And if you just go out of range, I don't think it should just stop moving. It should just change its behavior. Because it might be a little awkward if it then sees you again and has to wait, half a second again. But anyhow. We're then going to pack all this into an else block here. And continue is not going to do anything here, so we're not in a loop. Instead, we're going to also say that chasing player is going to be equal to false if you're not within the horizontal tracking distance. Otherwise, stay targeted on that player. So then all this wander logic is mostly sound here. It's just I'll probably just have it not change directions continuously if the player is a bit farther away. Or I'll just not, if it reaches its limit, it just won't turn around until after it's no longer aggro at the player. But for now, I guess we need to have it try to face the player. Oh, in this situation also, we might want to have it, like, not move. if it's within like here. Let's make it not, or yeah. We'll make it so that it can also just not move. So wherever we're saying chasing player false, will stop equals false as well, just in case it was stopped and like you went through the portal and then you're not in this stage with it anymore. Okay, then we go down here and say and not stopped. And not stopped. Alright. Okay, so okay, we'll still get those 3D testing things in the future because I do want to give this guy a 3D AI, which is kind of gonna wander in like the same-ish pattern. It's just gonna wander in probably a counterclockwise square instead of just back and forth. I don't know how it's gonna chase the player though. That's gonna be interesting, but I'll do that in a later update. For now, it's a 2D thing, which is fine. Okay, so now that we have it chasing the player, let's actually make it chase the player. So first of all, we'll get the actually we should be up here. So the player is still within tracking range. So we're going to say if the in is very close to the player position, then stop moving. Gonna say then face in the direction of the player. So those are going to be its two kind of things there. So if the max absolute value of the horizontal range is less than, say, how wide is this thing now that I think about it? Where's that hitbox? It's 48 wide, so let's say 20. So it's going to have to be like right on top of the player. Then stop equals true. Oh, stopped. Else stopped equals false. But also we have a little bit more to do, because obviously we don't want to do anything else. So then we want it to face in the rough direction of the player. So actually, we're going to say, I'm going to continue with my change direction system. And we're just always going to set this to true at the beginning of everything here. Or within everything. This shouldn't matter too much. This is mostly just a thing, so that it happens. Actually, I might not even need the new direction thing. I could probably just always have it set the facing direction based off what new direction is set to. But oh well. So we're not just going to care about what facing right is here. So this will take one cycle of delay before it actually updates, but that's fine, probably. New direction is going to be equal to, so this is what this is, so basically actually it's just going to be this greater than 0. Alright, and that should, oh, that's not it. So then down here, we will Well, okay, we don't want it to try walking farther than... Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Then we're going to just have it stop. Because stop will have previously been set to false otherwise, so it gets reset. Else... Or, oh wait, no, it returns, well, yeah, no, because then stop gets used by the movement manager. So yeah, no, this works. This works. Okay. Good. So, if we're chasing the player, then we're just going to stop. Else, we're going to turn around if we hit the edge. And then that's same for down here. So if that's that, then if we're chasing the player, then stop equals true. Else we do what we know is just the stop and pause for a moment and turn around behavior. True. Alright, there we go. Alright. Let's see if this new AI works. Because that should, in theory, be the whole thing for the actual AI done. Obviously, the combat itself is not yet done. That is something I will have to work on here in a moment. That is player interactions right there. Okay, let's... Excuse me. Just, once again, brain farted thinking the color selector was on the Tools tab. Okay, let's create myself a little bit of a platform up here to stand on. I'll be able to hop over to there, which maybe is going to be outside range? I don't know. So, yeah. Okay, so this guy should just follow me now. Perfect. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see that from up here. I'm not far enough away. But I can cheat. I can go, boop. Where is out of range? There it is. And comes back. Okay, it detected me there. So the detection range is about here. That's basically on screen. Here, actually, let me down here build myself a platform. All right. Unfortunately, yeah, can I even be... Will it always, like, if it's on screen, will it always be tracking me? Okay, no. It can be close to the edge of the screen without actually tracking me. What about if I, like... I feel like down here is probably going to be close or far enough away vertically that it shouldn't be able to track me. Nope, it's not. Okay, so it's tracking me now. But yeah, I don't legally have any way to get out of here. But yeah, when it does track me, it will stop. Oh, where's the edge of your stupid range? It's over there. Okay, well, this edge of its range is like here-ish. Actually, I don't know. Here, let me get rid of this guy. Beep. And we'll place in one all the way over here, so that its range doesn't extend too far this direction. Okay, stop and detect me. Okay, that's the edge of its range there. It will never come any closer, but since it knows that I am here, it will continue to stay there, and of course, track me this way. It'll continue tracking me potentially a little bit too far upwards, although it's off screen and I can't see it then. Yeah, it just kind of stops moving once it gets there, because I'm basically dead at that point, and there is a little bit of a dead zone where it won't like go back further. The reason for this is because I don't want it to be like flickering back and forth like constantly. I've seen that before, and in fact I've seen that with like the goon, if it doesn't know where to go, or if it doesn't think it can go anywhere. Okay, well, Here, let me move myself up here. Oh no, it did the thing where it fell off. Honestly, I have no idea how to fix that. Or why that's even happened. It shouldn't be off far enough. Like, changing directions. Whatever. I should really just make it stop out further. That does mess with slopes or whatnot, but you know. So that's there. Yep. Now, unfortunately, it isn't now basically impossible to observe these guys without them attempting to track me. Oh, that is the edge of its range there as well, actually. Because, let's see, if I move myself up here, it's then off the screen, which means I can't observe it. Okay, I'm going to decrease its vertical detection range. That way it makes it a little bit more observable. But yeah, I think that's good for its AI. I just need to get the combat done, and then this entity is done. And then, is there anything else I seriously wanted to do for this specific update? We might be on the cusp of me releasing this update here, guys. What a rarity. Where's my vertical detection range? Oh, 700 for vertical? Yeah, that's basically the entire height of the screen. Let's go 400. That's what I was originally going to do. There we go. That should be way better. Way less high range. Almost there, guys. Almost there. Alright. And entities 2D. Build a bit of a platform above here, so like there that I can go stand on, because these things can't jump. We'll once again just put one of these right there. Here, we'll also give myself a little bit of a platform over this way. And here. Okay, so it basically knew where I was immediately, which is fine. It's gonna chase me, but if I go up here, can I go up here? I'm probably out of range, but like, it's just gonna detect me again. Oh, it's on the edge. So if I can, here, let me build the platform down here. Okay, it detected me again. Okay, well that was a bad idea. If I jump down, okay, if I jump down here. What is this thing? This thing is positioned at basically 629 versus this here is 504. That's only like 100. Wait, 504. Oh wait, yeah, 629. Oh, 390, 339 to 629. So 629 minus 339. Okay, that's like 290. What? Wow, okay. We'll say 250 to be the vertical range then, because damn. That is way more than I was expecting. But hey, that's what we do here. Hey, that debug information finally came in handy for once. In fact, it's there if anyone really wants to look at it. But it is mostly for my, like, actually use of stuff. I should put more stuff there, because it could make things more useful. Dun, 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 dun. Put one of you here. Put a ground thingamajigger down here. With, I don't know, a platform here that I can hop on to try to get back up. It won't work, but we'll see. Okay, so it comes for me. Oh, I guess it had to detect me first. That's the edge of its range, so I can safely jump over it there. And then it should have lost focus on me, and I hopefully... No, it detects me. Damn it. Okay, I'm still within vertical range, but it's way better, I think. Actually, no, I'm not. That's just the edge of its range there. Yeah, okay, so I'm out of range right now. But if I could go there to get in within range. And then it loses me again and just goes back to 1. Great, it's working. Let's get that combat going then. So, actually, let's jog my memory of how this works. This is the one we'll worry about right now. So, when the player collides with this thing... Now, actually, I will listen. One of the things that I was talking about, or that I talked about with the AI guy, was like, okay, well, having the entities interact with each other. So if you have, like, an alien hunter, for instance, and this is just me thinking of things right now, that will try to kill the aliens when they see them, you could do a thing where you could try to bring them together so that they fight each other. You don't have to fight them. I don't know how I would do that, because currently they just combat with the player like this, but it would be an interesting idea and stuff to work on in the future. So here, let me just just print int every time this gets triggered. I think I know when this triggers. It's pretty simple to, I think I know pretty clearly where or how this triggers. I just want to be 108% sure. So we boop you right there, click play. Yep. So when the player is standing on top of the thing, or when their hitboxes touch, is when that triggers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check if the player is contacting the hands area in front of the entity. Kill the player. If not, kill this entity. Alright, it's pretty simple. You just need to create that hitbox. So we'll start with the entity hitbox here. To D. Obviously we don't have any offsets here. Really, I only got one of them? Okay, I need both of these. And we just get rid of these offsets as we don't have an offset. There we go. Okay, so that does exactly what I... Okay, so this will just give us the hitbox of the entity itself. But obviously we don't want that. What we want is... So this thing is 48 wide, which is the length of the thing. We want this to be like 4 wide. Which should basically be the front... but obviously the position of width, whether it's like... or plus or minus 24, we'll say. Because that'll be simplest enough. In one direction, it'll be outside of the entity. The other direction, it will be inside the entity. But I don't really care. So minus 24 times. Facing right. Question mark, -1:1. Just use this. Okay, so if we're facing right, we're actually going to add 24 instead of subtracting it. But if we're facing left, if facing right, then add 24, or not 42, 24. If facing left, Then had it right, dang it. Tracked 24. Not perfect, but it is good enough. Good enough to good enough for government work, as they say, I think is the expression. So when you do that, then we'll go collision delete if collision delete collide 2D kill box and player hitbox, then what? Oh, I need another right parenthesis. All right, then we're going to turn new player interaction results dot player. Wait, hang on. I need to look at player interaction result because I don't remember it. I can use this class for a lot more things than I do. I should. Oh. Yeah, I can just chain this. So, because currently it is only just for killing dot set kill to true. Oh, it does not. Okay, dot set kill. All right. Return null, meaning no action really will be taken. But so, check if the player. We check if the player is contacting the hands area in front of the entity. If so, kill the player. Oh, that's where that got. Okay. I accidentally pasted that on the line of the comment. I was wondering why I didn't only pasted part of that, it seemed. So then, not kill this entity. So we just say kill. That should be what we need to do there. This will, and this should be the combat all figured out, actually. So you just gotta go, actually, no, this shouldn't go full height. Should not go, oh, I have 2 Discord messages. Oh well, this should not go full height. We should, yeah, let me exit. I realize full height would mean that you would be really hard to kill this thing. So let's go like, instead of 70, let's go like 64 tall. That way it doesn't go the whole height, so that if you're landing on it from the top, hopefully that's going to kill it. Which should be a little bit more forgiving than the goon, to be fair. Because the goon, it's literally, you have to be into it a bit of a ways in order to kill it. This you don't technically have to. You just kind of got to be on the top of it instead of like in front of it. Let's test this. Entities to D. Alright, so we'll just, this time we'll give the entity a bit of a platform down here so that I don't get spawn killed. Alright. Now this thing's actually kind of lethal. So, okay, it's gonna go around down there. Let's test that it can kill me properly. So it comes for me, beep, I'm dead. Okay, cool. Okay, it's going back to its wandering behavior. See, no, you don't. Ah, I ran into it. All right, let's intentionally actually, no, let's actually try to kill it, I said. Nope. Bing! That didn't kill it, damn it. Okay. Interesting. It's still killing us. Obviously, I actually don't really have a good way to test on the other side of the entity, because it's always like facing the player. Let's go down to 55 height. Because I'm imagining that's probably just too tall then. Oh, never mind. I realize what's going on. Here, I'll exit this once it goes on. I just realized, right, because the positive y is going down. So we're actually we're pulling it up from the floor. So now, this should be like 64, and this thing should just go like to be 29. That's what was wrong. It was still being at the top. We're just moving up. Okay, now it should be correct. So yeah, if you can, like, in multiplayer, so this could actually be an entity that you can kind of tag team in multiplayer. So let it aggro onto one player. Should be the first player that comes into its range, really. If multiple come into its range at the exact same moment in time, it'll choose whichever one is joined the session sooner. Alright, so let's make sure this can still kill me properly. Oh, it goes off the edge there. That's probably bad. But, okay. Now, yoink! Ooh, got an error there. We will see what that is about. But, actually, yeah, that's the thing. If it doesn't, if it hasn't detected you yet, you can go at them if they haven't detected you yet. I forgot about that. That's another bit of skill to this. If you can sneak up behind them, which is not easy to do, to be clear, but if you can, then oh, okay, cool. Am I gonna? Okay, I'll figure out what this error is in a moment. So, there, turn around, bam! You can just whack him from behind. It works as expected. Now, what is this error? Index out of bounds 0, 0. Okay. Preconditions, check out of bounds, check index, array list, player physics. I can't directly check that line number because I don't have that line number. It's in the physics. For some reason, something is out of bounds, and I don't know what it is. 0 of 0. Some get for an array list. Okay, well, I'll figure out what this is. Alright, so the way we have to figure out what this is, because processing combines all the PDE files in the thing into one mega file. So, you know, I can go over to where this function is, level collisions, into the entity physics function. But, you know, this is like 800s here, going down, you know, this is thousands, but, you know, this file only goes to 1,600. So, it's combining all the files together. So in order to figure out what actually line that is, I have to export the application. I don't accidentally want to show File Explorer stuff here. So I'm just gonna do that. Don't include the JDK because I don't want this thing to use up extra cycles on my SSD. Okay, it didn't do that. Where is the generated version? There it is. And then I go into the sources folder where it's compiled all of my, where all the compiled Java, actually, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, where all the actual, the files live in here, but also, critically, well, all the PDE files are here, but also critically the file that is a combination, the Java file, so skinnyman.java, is there as well. Now, which line did it say this was? Okay, I can show my screen again, because it's not going to be danger there. It said 5994. 5994. Can't see this. Okay, but I can pull it up over here. So, wait. Player physics, not entity physics. Which player physics calls entity physics. It is right near. Wait, where is this? Right before we're checking dead. Right up here. Clients.getZero. Wait, what? What? So index of a... Huh? What the fuck? Has this always been that? Why? Okay. Multiplayer mode equals 2. I guess I've just never really, I guess I've just never really checked. I've never been I've never really done much entity killing in a co-op stage, I guess. So, okay, for context, what's going on here is what this does, this checks is, so if we are in, if this level is in co-op mode, which my test level is, just for reasons, and we are not, the system is not the host, and by default host is false, then send a packet to the host saying that, or telling them that you just killed the entity. But you know, the clients list, which the first one, or the only thing in clients would be the host if you were connecting, which is what this is assuming here. But obviously we're not in multiplayer, we're in the level creator, so this is going to be doing, or so this tries to get something that doesn't exist. Damn. That is... Okay. Well, the solution to this... Client stuff. I mean, obviously it's not crashing because I have protection on this, but this is not greater than 0. Don't try to do this if in the level creator. Okay, now I could also have just checked for level creator here, but I think this is better because if for some reason something happens where you're in a state, you're in one of these levels, but you're not in multiplayer for some reason, or you got disconnected and you didn't get to the kicked screen, this won't cause a spam of the console for the stack trace. Okay. That should, I repeat, should be problem solved. Let's go test. And then I think it's a good spot to wrap that up. Cause yeah, I'll go, I guess off stream, I'll go look over my list of, you don't have to do it. I'll go look over my list of things I wanted to do for this update. I don't even know if that properly exists or if it was just in my head. And if I don't see anything else, I'll introduce this. Actually, I can do this on the stream, actually. I'll introduce the alien into the level where it was supposed to go. Because I was originally wanting to add this for the last update, which released in May, by the way. Grid mode, that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, I did want to add this but I kind of ran out of time. And obviously it's taken till literally now in December for me to finish this. So anyway. Okay. Alright, let's kill that bastard. Yay! No errors! Yay, okay, let's go. Let's exit. Wait, which level was it? Let me quickly check which level it was. It was this one. So that was level 15. Okay. Okay, load level 15. Is it stage 3 where the actual lab is, or is that stage 4? I should make this camera move way faster. I don't know why I haven't. Okay, I think this may have been the right one. What did this sign here say? Maximum security clearance. Ooh, don't do that. That's on one page. Okay. Yes, I have the new, you may not remember, I have the new selection thing system, so ooh. Cool shit. What is this thing? Say, containment facility this way, okay. Ooh. IOU 1 in level story. Oh, it was the next, dang it, it was the next stage. I still haven't got around to that in level story thing. I will, oh, dang it. I'll do that some other time. Because I still don't know what I actually want to do for that. Dangerous entity this way. And then we got a bunch of little goons in here. Who have also infiltrated the government facility, I guess. I don't know, they work for the Solus Corporation. This one says containment breach, which should probably be like a sound. Alert, containment breach has occurred. Please remain calm and report any sightings of the enclosed substance if... you get the idea. Anyhow, this one is the one that said, are you an alien entity? I can boop you out of existence. And then... oh gosh, these guys kind of blend in with these things a little bit. Oh. Yeah, actually going? What the hell? Oh. Not sure why that guy turned around. So we get 2 of those guys. Probably should add these guys into the next level as well. We do blah blah blah. Platforming on these angled platforms is actually kind of difficult. Then over here we'll say there's another one of these guys. On that again, he turned around. What the heck? Okay, that's this level. We'll save that. We already saved, so we can exit. Now we load level 16. Where in here can I insert? Oh, I need to recenter the camera. This is outside the lab. Just, you know, it's all underground in a cave. Classics. Classic government security. Or classic secure government facilities, right? There's a death plane down here. So these guys can be a bit of a... so these aliens potentially could be a bit of a pain if they see you, but if they don't see you, you can probably kill them pretty easily. There's not much jumping room there, so that might be a little bit difficult to... you know what? Here, why not? This checkpoint. Actually, here. We'll wait for something that's a little bit not the checkpoint. So right here, actually. Yeah, we'll put him right here. It's not a very big space. You'll probably just have to land on him, but that should be easy. This is pretty tough, but it is possible to come up here. Da-da-da-da-da. And then let's say that's enough for this stage. Then once again, we move back here. I think this is the one which is like just the big ass cave that you have to try to get out of. Yeah. So let's put one over this way. Yeah, I don't know why they keep turning around like that. That feels weird. We have a regular goon up here. I did definitely try to take advantage of things being able to be rotated in this this stage. We have another goon here. Actually, you know what? Let's replace this goon with an alien. Alright, there's another goon at the top of there, right next to that checkpoint. I don't think we should have one on this section because they're very annoying when they're on those sections. Sure, we'll do one like there. Weird, very weird how they keep changing directions like that. Again, I know I keep saying it. We got this guy up here. This camera is very slow. Admittedly, I really should make it faster. I don't know why I haven't. And I'm complaining about it right now, but I know I won't do anything about it for at least a while. Yeah, we should do one here. Haven't had an enemy in a while. And we're almost okay. That's the end of this stage. Yeah, we'll just go through this level. Nope. Okay, it's up. Huh. There's also no way to like zoom out and see where the actual content of this level is. I think it might be better to go back here and just kind of scroll through this level, find the exit, and like make the play and just go through there. The camera does still move extremely slowly though. I'm also just hoping that it's directly up from here. Here, I'm going back down now. I got scared. Unlike in 3D where you can actually just like look around and see what's what, you can't do that here. Wait, is this actually the... Wow, that's a lot of... Yeah, I'm going to just follow this for now. Actually, here, let's... No, that's the wrong button. Let's just run through this. Because that'll be faster, for some reason. Whoop. Yeah, there's the end of the level. Alright. Oh, yes, this is the right one. Okay, so you come up here, you hit that little checkpoint, and then you start coming down here. Run to these two goons here, that's fine. Headed back downwards, you come over here, we'll put... Not me. Put an alien over here. Because why not? We down, down, down we go. Eventually we'll get to the bottom. This one is a pretty big drop. If I remember correctly. I think this one might actually go like all the way down. Okay, this is gonna take a hot second. So, I feel like center is probably the safe spot on this one. Okay. So just like a... Yeah, the exit's just there. Okay. So we'll go through the exit. Let's see where that ends up. Going up again. Okay, we got this schmuck here. Okay, we'll just pause because I don't really want to try combat right now. Okay, go through here. This over here seems like a good spot to put an alien. They're a bit of variety, you know, a bit of like spicing up. And then there's the end. All right, that's this level, and I think that's gonna be the stream. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Please leave a like on the stream on your way out, and subscribe. Hopefully, I'll be getting this update out within the next few days, maybe, possibly. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, check out the current version of this game while it's still recent. It's linked in the description. And yeah, I will see you all next time, which I don't know when it's going to be because it's the last stream for